So yesterday, a DuPage County Board meeting. It sounds like a lot of fun for a Tuesday morning, but yeah, yesterday got overflow crowd, hundreds of people showing up, expressing their support and their opposition for the sheriff there, Sheriff Jim Mendrick, who announced that he's not going to be enforcing the state's gun ban that the governor enacted that faces 6 or 7 different lawsuits in state and federal courts. So the sheriff making that statement on Facebook saying that he's not going to utilize his jail resources for this, and it brought the crowd out. Of course, Monday you had Sean Casten, a Democratic congressperson from the Chicagoland area, and several other state lawmakers and members of Congress criticize the sheriff, saying that he needs to withdraw his statement or be held accountable by the DuPage County Board. Well, yesterday you had supporters of the gun ban and opponents of the gun ban show up and share their sentiments about the sheriff there. So let's go ahead and get into this. As you had, again, a good amount of people show up at the board hearing. They actually had to have like an overflow area for people showing up to voice their concerns. My reporter Andrew Hensel was in that area and stopped by and grabbed photos and interviews, and it was quite the display at 10 o'clock in the morning for individuals sharing their thoughts about the Second Amendment. And it started off with Deb Conroy. She's a former state representative, but now the DuPage County Board chair. And again, DuPage, the second most populated county in the state of Illinois. She shared what she thought about the sheriff's sentiments of not wanting to enforce this particular ban on semi-automatic weapons, the gun registry, the ban on magazines, and so on. Here's Deb Conroy.
As the chair of the DuPage County Board, I believe our job as elected officials is to uphold the laws of the state of Illinois, all of the laws. We do not individually decide which laws we will uphold. To do so creates confusion, contributing to misinformation and doubt, which can lead to some of our residents feeling less safe. Our system works best when we are all committed to upholding the laws equally. And we will continue our long tradition of keeping DuPage County a safe place to live, work, and raise a family. That is what I believe our residents have elected us to do.
So again, that's Deb Conroy yesterday, the DuPage County chair, talking about how she thinks that law enforcement should enforce the law. But you had a whole bunch of people lined up ready to talk, including those who support the sheriff's decision and those who oppose the sheriff's decision. Here's one individual opposing the sheriff's decision about making sure that the law is enforced.
30 kids have been killed in 2023 so far. At least 314 children age 11 years and younger were killed by gunfire in 2022. Another 1,360 children between the ages of 12 and 17 died in shootings. The Gun Violence Archive said it was the most children to die or be injured by gunfire in a single year since it started keeping track in 2014. If our new gun laws can save just one child, it's worth it.
You had others show up as well, including a woman who held up a sign saying that Mendrick should do his job.
When they wrote the amendments to the Constitution, they weren't thinking of semi-automatic weapons. They were thinking of muskets. For heaven's sakes, we have to do something about the guns in this country. It's sickening. Please keep working as hard as you are, and let's replace this man if he can't do his job. His job is not to interpret the law.
So again, that particular protester holding up a sign saying that the Second Amendment dealt with muskets, holding up a sign saying, Mendrick, do your job, saying that he should be replaced. Well, you could do that through elections. He's an elected law enforcement official, the top law enforcement official in the county. But you had others who showed up, including those who support Mendrick and his decision not to enforce the law to ban guns. Here's one supporter of the Second Amendment.
Good morning, Board. First, I want to acknowledge the hundreds of pro-Second Amendment activists outside and downstairs. We see you, we hear you, and we're so thankful that you guys are here celebrating our rights while we still have them. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. If tyranny prevails, Illinois and our rights as we know it will be defeated. That is what we, the people of Illinois, and what Sheriff Mendrick are fighting against. That's why it's time to come and support a sheriff who is elected by the people, like you said, Miss, to serve the people and to defend our rights. And here's the deal. Lastly, we, the people of Illinois, will not comply. We will not back down to tyrants and bullies. And as the great state of Texas says, come and take it.
So we're hearing some of the voices from yesterday's DuPage County Board meeting, an early meeting, 10 o'clock in the mornings when the DuPage County Board meets, and they had around 300 people show up, a whole host of people who were opposing the sheriff in his position of not enforcing the gun ban, and those who supported the sheriff not enforcing the gun ban. And we have one other voice here that was pro-Second Amendment sounding off in support of the sheriff and not enforcing that gun ban.
The passing of HB 5471 is unlawful, and that will be proven in court. The 2A was created to protect the citizens from a tyrannical government, and it's sad and almost comical. You don't even see the hypocrisy. Thankfully, we have a sheriff who is willing to protect his citizens from our own government. Mental health is a huge issue that's being ignored. Statistics show that more than 50% of gun deaths in the U.S. is by suicide. We need more mental health resources and the abundant access to them. Banning guns is not the solution. Criminals will obtain guns illegally. Banning guns will not change this. Ultimately, it's not gun control, it's people control. You're using national tragedies to push an agenda. We, the people, are tired of having our freedoms eroded. Illinois does not want this bill, as 90 county sheriffs have made this clear. You won't be happy until every gun is banned, because it's much easier to control the population when they are unarmed. Canada and Australia have proven how dangerous a government can be without an armed populace. We will never be like Canada or Australia. This is the tyrannical government our forefathers warned us about.
So we'll actually hear more of each side of this and maybe open it up to your phone calls as well. 217-629-7970. That's the phone number here with WMAY. Live and local this Wednesday morning as we've got some snow in central Illinois. So stay tuned. Much more.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop. Weekdays 6 till 9 on 92.7 WMAY.
And we're hearing some voices out of DuPage County, which is Illinois' second most populated county, because the sheriff there said he's not going to enforce the state's gun ban and registry. So yesterday at the DuPage County Board meeting, they had a ton of people show up and voice their concerns about the sheriff's position, but also their support of the sheriff's position. Here's somebody who said that they were a Second Amendment supporter and a legal gun owner, but they want the sheriff to enforce what he said is the law. And it looks like also a little bit of performance art as well.
I have the right to go to a public event, whether or not it is a parade or a dance or a concert, and not worried about some person who has access to rapid fire weapons shooting randomly into the crowd. That is not the freedom that we believe in. Thank you for your time.
As he finishes up, he bows to the audience as if they were throwing all kinds of different roses his way. But you had somebody else get up, a Second Amendment supporter, and a lot of people I've seen comment about this series of speakers said that this woman knocked it out of the park. Here she is sounding off.
It is apparent now more than ever why it is mandatory that our constitutionally protected right to keep and bear arms not be infringed. Yeah. Sheriff Mendrick took an oath to support the U.S. Constitution. Thank God he has the integrity to uphold that oath. Thank God he willingly inserted himself between the 920-some thousand residents of DuPage County and the corrupt legislature and executive of Illinois. How dare anyone suggest that he is anything less than an American hero? We will never forfeit our right to keep and bear arms in order to protect ourselves from the very same coalition that is now attempting to disarm us. America will be secured as a free state. We will not wait for the court's decision. The Constitution ruled on HB 5471 200 years ago. Even if a modern day ruling reveals that the courts also belong to that same corrupt coalition, we will still not surrender our weapons. Be careful about picking a fight with Mendrick. When you attack him for upholding the Constitution, you attack the very essence of what it means to be American.
So that is, again, just one
win.
other person and a string of individuals who spoke at the DuPage County Board meeting. And why I air this for Central Illinois is because I think that this is a true testament to both sides of the equation here and the arguments that we're going to hear moving on, not just here in Illinois, but across the country as well as we get ready for the 2024 presidential elections. All right, stay tuned. Much more coming up on WMAY at 7 o'clock.
From the Fly SPI